Let's create a code in JavaScript to tell our user their battery life and if their computer is currently charged or not. So we will begin this by creating a paragraph element with the ID of battery info. This is where we'll update and display our battery information. Okay, so now that we have this, we can do the core JavaScript of this code. We will begin by creating a function. I will call this function update battery info. So I will write function update battery info, parentheses, and then an open curly bracket. This curly bracket is important as inside of it, we will be putting more code. So now we will use a method known as navigator.getBattery. We will get information about the user's battery. Then at the end, we will use a promise to handle the asynchronous nature of our current operation. So let's do navigator.getBattery. Then let's do then function battery. Now do another curly bracket. Okay, great. So inside of this, we will then create a variable called battery info to store the battery level. So let's do var battery info. And now we will set this equal to a line of text. We will first display to the user the print statement of battery, and then next we'll display the information about the battery. So we can do battery.level. But battery level itself will display on a scale from 1 to 0. So if your computer has 100%, it will display as 1. Now our user may not understand this and may think their computer has a quarter of a percentage, so we will do times 100 to make it more readable to the user. Now we will add a string at the end of percentage. Great. So now we have created the variable of battery info to store our battery level. Next, we need to check if the battery is charging. If it is, we can add charging to our battery info string. So let's do if battery charging and a curly bracket, because inside of it we can do battery info. Now we will do plus equals to charging. So we can display the message that it is charging. Okay, so now that we have this, let's do a semicolon so that we can create a new line afterwards for the else statement of this. Let's start off by closing that curly bracket and reopening a new one below it. So let's do the curly bracket closed, else, open a new curly bracket and say battery info. We can add that it is not charging. Great. So we have this, add the semicolon at the end, and close that bracket. Okay. So after we have this, we need to update the inner HTML of the battery info paragraph with our battery information. We can do that by referring back to line 5's battery info, and we can do document.getElementById. Now what getElementById does is that it takes the elements from this identification of battery info and updates it to our variable battery info. So now that we did all this, because it's an asynchronous function, we need to close all of it. So we will do a curly bracket, a curled bracket, a parentheses, and then we will do a semicolon. Now you'll have a curly bracket down here. Leave that, we still need that. So now we need to call our update battery info function to display the initial battery information when our page loads. So we can do that just by creating a function called update battery info. So next, we need to use the navigator.getBattery again, this time to set up event listeners for changes in charging statuses and battery level. So let's do navigator.getBattery again. Get battery, and then we'll do the same then function battery from above, and then we will open a curly bracket. Let's move it down. Next, we will add an event listener for charging change to update the battery info whenever the charging status changes. So if your computer starts to die or while it's charging it gains battery, we can add an event listener so it watches for this. So we can define it as that. Now, we also need to do a level change. So this will update the battery information when the battery level changes. So we can do the exact same code from this line. We can almost copy it, paste it, and all we have to do is change charging change to level change. Alright, great. Now all we have to do is do the closing curly bracket. Oh, the curly bracket needed to be higher. So let's do the closing curly bracket, the closing parentheses, the closing semicolon. Great. All of this is inside of our JavaScript function. So that means we have successfully completed the code. Let's run this and see if it works. Okay, so as we can see here, it is accurately displaying that my battery is currently 89%. It displays that I'm charging it as well. So if I unplug my computer, it now says I am not charging. And if I recharge it, it says I'm charging. Now, when the battery life increases or decreases, you'll see that the battery actually does change on it. You don't need to constantly refresh your page. If this tutorial helped, thanks for watching, and subscribe to check out more content just like this.